Welcome to this episode of TAC Tic Talk. I'm Dr. Joe Busch, with publisher of the American Chiropractic magazine, Jaclyn Touzard, and we are joined by the CEOs of Disc Centers of America, who are here to announce an important partnership with Life University, announcing the release of their Disc Center in Life Clinic. Dr. Kaplan, can you tell a little bit about this relationship, how it came about, what it means for the profession and life, and just the Disc Centers of America across the United States?
You know, Dr. Bard and I have really get excited about the future of our profession. You know, we've always said we thought the middle class of the profession has kind of deteriorated. And what we teach is the D of doctor stands for diagnosis, and the R stands for results. So the better diagnosis you make, the better results you get. And we have found that decompression is a phenomenal way of taking doctors to a higher level of making better diagnosis, meaning, you know, there's a subluxation, there's a bulging disc, there's a herniated disc, and each and every one of those has to be treated a little bit differently. And to be associated with the largest and, in our opinion, the best chiropractic university, you know, in the world, we're very excited because I think chiropractors in most other schools, they're taught about the subluxation complex, which is germane to everything that we do. Meaning the chiropractic adjustment is germane in everything that we do. And we were taught that by Dr. Norman Shealy, MD, PhD, neurosurgeon, who taught at Harvard University, who always said you have to deal with the sacral shear or the sacral subluxation, or decompression will not get the maximum results. And many doctors and many schools were not taught this. And I think what this does for Life University is now they're giving doctors a better mechanism to understand the whole subluxation complex. You know, the histopathology, the neuropathology, the myopathology, the bone nerve disconnection that we're working with. And by doing it with the university, we're dedicating a lot of it towards research. I mean, working with, you know, obviously Dr. Fogarty and, you know, Dr. McAulay, Dr. Downs, Dr. Gross has been very exciting. And Dr. Barton, I think that this is revolutionary for the profession because research will be generated. And, you know, it's time that chiropractic is not considered alternative care. Surgery should be the alternative. Chiropractic first, drug second, surgery last. That's the paradigm that we teach. It all begins with the subluxation, then we move to the bulge, then we move to the herniation. But we feel that we make doctors, not better salesmen. And Dr. Bard is germane in what we want to do with the university, and we're very excited about this.
Well, that sounds outstanding. So Dr. Brian McAulay, president of Life University, you delivered a great speech there at the most recent Life Extravaganza. I listened to you reflect and really project forward on what the next 50 years of life has in store. So this sounds like one of the first things that you're going to be doing is including this Disc Centers of America with the clinic side. Can you talk a bit about how you became familiar with the group Disc Centers of America, as well as decompression technology, and how that kind of changes the narrative within the clinic?
Well, thanks, Dr. Joe. And life students are known, always have known for being well-grounded philosophically and clinically, having terrific hands in terms of correcting subluxations, right? That will always be the case. And life's also known for being cutting edge, right? So that to me is why this is such a good fit. We know there's a mounting body of research for disc decompression as a supportive care aspect of the chiropractic paradigm. We know that there are hundreds of these centers around the U.S., and we want our students to be ready for all kinds of practice modes and opportunities. You know, back in the day, you had kind of one option, and that was general practice on your own, sole proprietorship. You know, that was it. But Joe, these days, our students have all kinds of options and opportunities. Our goal as Life University is to make sure our students are well prepared, whether they go into self-employed practice, traditional practice, family practice, whether they decide to go with an organization, a group practice, whether they integrate with other chiros, whether they integrate with other professions. We know they're always going to be producing top quality chiropractic care. We want them ready for the whole range of options. This is now a significant viable option. and it's cutting edge, right? And we want our students to be out on the edge of clinical knowledge and practice success and career success. So that's why we're excited about it and glad to have this project going.
Outstanding. No, outstanding. Now, Dr. Kevin Fogarty, I've met you before. You're the president of the Board of Trustees, correct? Is that at Life?
Chairman of the board, yes, sir.
Chairman of the board, excuse me. And then I know you also are a Disc Centers of America, right? So what better resource to really express some of the value that it adds to the clinic? How long ago did you become one of the members of Disc Centers of America, and how have you seen that evolve what you do in the clinic?
Well, Joe, as you know, I've been in clinical practice for 40 years. This year is my 40th year in practice. It's my anniversary. And in doing so, about 3-4 years ago, we started dabbling a little bit with the spinal decompression, and we saw the advantages of helping our patients, because as Dr. Kaplan eloquently said, it's the subluxation that leads to the bulge, and the bulge leads to the herniation. And we had patients that wanted to get better a little quicker. We were adjusting them, we were taking good care of them, and we were looking for research. We were looking for people we knew that were doing real well with it. And of course, we've known Dr. Kaplan for many years personally, and our paths crossed again. And my wife and I went to one of their big programs, and we were blown away. I mean, it was looking for all the answers right there in their main program. And we started utilizing the research, as Dr. Kaplan said, with Norman Shealy. And everything started to click. And we started with one table, and now we've got 3 tables in the clinic. We're looking for a 4th one. We're following the protocols that are research based. And I'm a research geeky type of guy, because we're always looking for how to be the best. I want to be the best. I want to do it right. I don't want to, just hang out and be on the periphery. I've gotten past certifications in spinal whiplash trauma, so I knew how biomechanics work. I took another certification in spinal biomechanics and engineering, but I always remained grounded in my philosophy of what chiropractic was about. And I got my PhD in philosophy through Palmer and Fred Barge and Guy Reekman. And so we found that everything that Disc Centers of America was doing at the time was exactly what we wanted. And we started incorporating them within the last 2 years. And the growth has been fantastic. We saw, as the chairman of the board of Life, we're looking at always opportunities for our students on how our students can be the best prepared when they go into practice, the best prepared that they can go ahead and make money and start buying down their debt, or to go ahead into interning programs with people that are competent, that are actually making a difference in these kids' lives. And we found that it was a perfect marriage, so to speak, that we've all walked into, and it's been growing.
That's outstanding. You touched on so many points that I'd love to go into each, but of course, we're not going to have time. But I mean, like especially the commentary about the subluxation complex, and this is something that Eric has really talked a lot about in his articles. That this is not surgery versus decompression. This is decompression is the answer, and there shouldn't even be a question about the surgery side. They don't have the studies to justify a lot like the procedures they're doing. So, but when we're talking about the subluxation complex and how the role of the disc, I mean, these are conversations that are not being had all over the place, and it's nice to see that Life continues to have that conversation. Eric, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, that's what our role as chiropractors is to provide a non-surgical solution. I mean, and now if you look up back surgery, which is in the range of 50% successful, failed back surgery now has a name. I mean, they never had a name before. So failed back surgery is now of epidemic proportions. And we as chiropractors should be able to treat the worst type of back cases. We should be the first choice, not the last choice. And we get many cases, our clinics, that even had surgery. They go to failed back surgery syndrome, and they come, and now they realize, oh, you know what, with decompression, because what people don't realize is if you do a microdiscectomy, all that does is remove a piece of the disc that's been bulging, but it doesn't prevent the rest of the disc from leaking out, and it doesn't prevent the problems that happen above and below the area of performance. So, you know, Dr. Bard and I have worked for years on the science. Both of our sons actually are chiropractors. Both of our sons are actually, you know, in the trenches and doing this and helping us at seminars. So to us, this is not only a passion, this is a family affair by trying to understand the legacies of the profession, meaning Apple phones, what is it now, up to 17? We can't be still doing chiropractic 1. I mean, it's time that we evolve. And I applaud Doctors McAulay and Dr. Fogarty for saying, you know what, we want our students to be the most prepared, meaning Dr. Bard will go into detail in dentistry, how certain schools you have to go to specialize in orthodontics. You know, we want people that want to take their practices to the highest level, the students. We want them to choose Life University. Why? Because they're going to get the most extensive education when it comes to nerve, bone, disc, etc. And that's why we're excited that for Dr. Bard and I, this is a family affair.
Well, it's definitely a y-axis adjustment without a doubt. Now, Dr. Tim Gross, we're joined by here. Now, you're going to be leading up the Disc Center at Life University. How has that changed, or how will that change the intake of patients? Will it change it, or the application of treatment? Dr. Gross, can you talk on that point a bit?
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess for me, this clinic really it's not just about having the best technology or the best equipment. It's really just about the people. I'm not sure that the intakes and those types of things will change much, except for having some different protocols as supporting the Disc Centers of America protocol. But for us, it's just about giving patients hope again, helping them to move and live and thrive through the power of chiropractic. Every patient on the planet really deserves to have the chance to live free from any necessary drugs or surgery. And through this work, we're already proving that the body, when it's cared for properly, is really capable of some extraordinary healing. And a lot of it has been through the non-surgical spinal decompression. So as far as intakes changing, we're still going to take in the types of patients that we've always taken, but I think it's going to also expand much broader of those range and types of patients that we're going to be able to take care of.
Great. Now, do you guys have, and I'm not familiar with your clinic there, do you have an MRI on campus, or is it X-ray, or?
Well, we have X-ray and we have a DAC-bar radiologist, but we refer for MRIs to local MRI facilities around pretty close to the clinics.
Great. So Dr. Bard, we haven't heard from you yet, but of course you're co-CEO. So can you just tell us a little bit about, you know, the relationship, how it's come along? You mentioned earlier that you're a graduate of Life. So just how did this go?
Well, so funny you should ask, because I think, you know, it's not a secret that often to really understand this incredible congruence, this synergy, this dynamic, and yes, this partnership, sometimes we have to look back to actually, as you know so well, to look forward, but to do the most important thing, which is to take care of the present. And in that regard, I think it's so vitally crucial and important, as you know so well, is that patients have choices. And most patients, once they are prescribed a treatment program based upon the diagnosis of a degenerative bulging and/or herniated disc, patients have choices. What are the choices? Well, as you know, often they could be dangerous opioids. They could be risky epidural injections. And often, unfortunately, it could be a back surgery that may be necessary and may not be necessary. So what's so unique about this moment in time is that the largest chiropractic institution, the school that I'm a proud graduate of, decided to really take a giant leap forward on behalf of their student body and their future students to be able to now include training programs, education, hands-on, to be able to deal with all those disc problems through the utilization of non-surgical spinal decompression in the form of very specific, very targeted, very analytical, all clinically documented, based upon the research that reflects incredible outcomes based upon the technology that they invested in and they have in their clinic. So what that simply means is this: doctors now that are privy to this content and to this information and to this training now have the ability to create better portals of entry to their office, better options for in terms of clinical outcomes, and to really, really position themselves as DCs, doctors of chiropractic, or basically disc chiropractors, because often we say the DC stands for disc chiropractor. What Life University did in their genius is they said, we're going to educate our students, our future students, and to ground them in the framework of the science, the research, the technology, and to do so under a brand that has been time tested for many, many years. When Dr. Kaplan and I put this together, to be frank with you, little did we know it would reach the heights that it did because of one reason, and that reason is success, because of so many chiropractors having incredible success through their treatment programs, utilizing this incredible science that now Life University said, wait a minute, we're going to now really put a spotlight on the motor unit. That's what we were taught in school, as you know, bone, disc, and nerve, and to really focus on these patients to give them the best opportunity to hopefully have a better quality of life, a better treatment outcome, and to do so through the proper training at an institution that really has no equal. I might be a little biased, but that's the fact, Jack.
No, this is great. This is great. Now, I mean, without a doubt, an 18-year-old spine is different than a, 48-year-old spine is different than a 75-year-old spine. So this definitely provides a different approach to treating something that maybe you're not able to affect in the same way with your hands or other types of approaches. Now, Dr. Downs, you went to school with Dr. Bard, and you're also the head of international affairs, right? So I don't want to leave you out, but I'd like to know your involvement with the project and I don't know, is Dr. Bard always this way, like this kind of boisterous? I mean that in the best possible way, Dr. Bard.
Oh, where shall I begin? Because next year we will have been out 40 years in practice. And as Dr. Bard says, I appear to be as old as I have ever been in the process. He always had an energy about him that was, for me, what I would call my alter ego. As quiet and introverted as I am, Dr. Bard is not. And my world is both global initiatives as well as institutional initiatives, which means anything that is external to the immediate campus facility at Life right now. And so part of my role is to help in this initial unit at Roswell Road to launch this partnership with Life University through our Life Chiropractic Centers, which is our facilities where we care for our patients. And the other part for me is, as Dr. Kaplan said in his description of what the DR is about, diagnosis and results. And there's so many orthopedic surgeons that if all they have is a knife, they know that's the only protocol they can follow through with. And even then, they know that the results at best may be 50-50. And so for me, what I love about this concept is that it extends the chiropractic theory to mechanical assistance in removing the interference and allowing the body to heal and express its full potential. And so really for me, I see this as a wonderful opportunity for our students, as Dr. Bard said. And because the DCOA has protocols and certification, we have the unique opportunity for our students before they graduate to actually be certified in the protocol, so that when we go through what we have, which is a peak opportunity, where the last 6 months before they graduate, they can actually go out into clinical practice offices and experience that. Now these students don't go out with, gee, I wonder what this button does. Gee, I wonder what this machine does. They're already certified. And so they have the opportunity to go into active clinical practices and see the practical application of what they're certified in. And so for me, I think institutionally for the initiative, and I must tell you, I'm also looking at the global component, because we're not the only country in the world that needs decompression and clear protocols for managing it. So I'm just in the middle of this whole process and enjoying coordinating between the school, DCOA, Dr. Gross, and actually seeing this come to reality.
Fantastic. Thank you for your perspective. Eric, please follow that up.
Yeah, I think what's exciting, and I want the world to know that Dr. Bard and we're donating our time and resources to Life University. I want to be very specific that, because we feel this is in the need of the profession. And what we've done, Dr. Joe, is, remember, this began by Dr. Alan Dyer, MD, PhD, was the Minister of Healthcare in Canada, who also, by way, developed the defibrillator. Then he started working again. The other person, Dr. Norman Shilley, another MD, PhD, neurosurgeon, helped take it to another level by doing other studies like with Caladia and Wasserman, and developed the fixed tower. But what's amazing is both of these MDs, PhDs knew that chiropractors were the best people to provide some of these resources. Yet, what we've done is we've put together a book that we've donated to Life University for the students, that the studies from the Boudreaux study, the Shilley study, the McClure study, these are medical studies. The Boxell Martin study says the disc has the ability to heal itself. Well, that's what we teach, Dr. Joe. The power that creates the body has the power to heal the body. All we're doing is introducing that dynamic. We're introducing that dynamic to help that disc open itself up and let water get into that disc, let the disc retract. And the success rates, yes, are great. And what's exciting is we're teaching these people medical research. So what we're getting now is endorsements from the medical profession, from orthopedic surgeons, from neurosurgeons, from neurologists, from neuroradiologists. They're starting to understand that chiropractic, we're not the enemy. It's no longer the Hatfields and the McCoys. Matter of fact, when it comes to disc injuries, nobody's more qualified, especially than our doctors at Disc Centers America. Why? Our job is to make them better doctors, not better salespeople, to have pride in their profession, to stick their chest and say, I am as Dr. Decompression or a disc chiropractor. And we want our people, as Dr. Fogarty said, not to be good at this, but to be the best. So you have the best school providing the best education with the best resources. This is exciting.
Very good. So based on all of that, with the backing of a university, are there any plans for any additional research on outcomes? I know that, Dr. McAulay, your speech was about how random controlled trials are not really the way to go, and especially with healthcare. I mean, every patient's different, right? But any plans for that coming forth, or can we talk on those points?
Life University has a very active research center. So, a part of this vision was, what can we do in terms of advancing the research from, as you pointed out, Dr. Joe, from the chiropractic paradigm So here now we'll have access to a clinic, we'll have access to the data, and our scientists are going to be able to come up with their hypotheses and test these things in all kinds of innovative ways. So yeah, our notion as Dr. Kaplan and I have spoken with Dr. Bard is how can we expand greatly the research literature in this area to expand the scope and influence of chiropractic. So yeah, that's an exciting piece of it.
I wanted to jump in and add a quick question too, and that was going to be, and I'm not sure who's going to answer it for me, but what does this translate into hitting the ground running? How soon does it, I know there's a big inauguration in February, Perry, you can answer it for me. So what does it look like for the Life University, the students? How soon will they see the ability, the classes starting up and the inauguration and everything? How does that impact on the time rollout?
It's the most exciting time in the history of our profession to be in chiropractic school. It's really the most exciting time to be a chiropractor for a lot of reasons. In terms of the timeline here, yes, you're 100% correct. There is a scheduled grand opening on Friday, February 27th, 2026 at the newly revamped, revised, re-energized, I should say, and really just rebranded Roswell Clinic, which is now the Life University Disc Centers of America Center, which is an outpatient treatment center specializing in the care and treatment of patients, as you know, with disc disease and utilizing non-surgical spinal decompression, and also, too, more importantly, an educational center for their students, where students at Life University now have the chance to practice, learn, as we would always say in our business, to grow, to be, to do, to have in our profession and beyond. And the reason I say that, as you know so well, because of your background, Jackie, and your family's background and so much, and this is really a torch that was carried by your father many years ago, that chiropractic is a science, it is an art, it is a philosophy, and guess what? It's a business. And the magic, the magic of this is that in the genius of Life University, what they did is they said, let's figure out a way together, the profession, that we can lift up our profession and educate our students and our doctors in this model over a length of time that gives them the confidence and the ability to be able to attract better patients, higher quality patients. And it's not a secret, as you know so well, and everyone on this knows, that decompression as a whole is a cash-driven model. So it's not an insurance-dependent model. That empowers the doctors to be able to take control of their business, take control of their future, take control of their freedom, afford the patient better treatment options that are cost-effective, and to be able to take control of their lives and to be able to give patients what they want, which is control of their lives. It's a beautiful time, energy, and focus at this time. And as you know, our footprint historically is well entrenched. We have the largest Google footprint in the history of the profession. If you do a search for MRI, for how do I avoid a back surgery, for how do I get off opioid medications, you're going to see Disc Centers of America centers propagate to the top with Google searches that takes us over 20 pages deep into Google searches organically. When we say organically, what that means is free. So in other words, you'll see constantly, because of really what Disc Centers of America doctors have done, which is to educate their patients better, give better treatment options to their patients, and really focus on the technology that Life University now specializes in and can kind of showcase in their outpatient clinic. So February 27th, grand opening, followed by one day later, an incredible program at Life University, which is brand new this year, and it's called the Neuropathy Decompression Certificate Program, which is an 8-hour CEU program, which is held on the campus of Life University, where we bring in neurologists and neuroradiologists, and we bring in some of the top physicians in the world who can help so many doctors, help so many patients that have numbness, tingling, pins and needles, burning, gait dysfunctions, balance disorders, and yes, back problems, neck problems, joint problems, because there's a direct synergy between a disc condition and a nerve condition. And Life University figured this out in their genius, and they said, we're going to be basically the educational center for our future doctors, present doctors, future doctors, to give them the tools necessary to treat these patients accordingly. So great time.
And I wanted to jump in and add, because I have gotten the honor of working with, of course, both of you for decades now. And obviously in Concierge Coaches, the original practice management arm, you guys are success coaches. And so when you talk about combining it with technique, which of course, Life University is the ultimate technique school. So now you have with decompression, what we've always seen is one of the most powerful tools is a technique that's reproducible. And it increases and instantly creates an income source. And you guys being the coaches on this, pairing up with an educational institution like Life, it really is a history making. And I love to hear what I'm hearing every day. I get the honor to meet with you guys, and keep it up. Really excited to see where it goes, and happy to help get the word out.
Very exciting, very exciting. Now, any final words from any of you guys?
Can I add one thing? I just want to be clear. We're
Please.
really grateful to Disc Centers of America because of this partnership, of course, but they've been very generous in donating their services, their advice, their background, their materials, their research literature, waiving their fees, and assisting with equipment manufacturers so that we can get this clinic up off the ground. We are obviously a nonprofit institution, and they've just been very generous with their support. So I want to thank them thank the docs here for their support.
The equipment there is definitely not cheap, but I mean, that's why you've got it, because that stuff, sometimes that's what it takes, so.
Cheaper than hiring. It's a whole person you got there practically, right?
Exactly.
And when they have the programs that these different neuropathy programs in February, but they also have the grand event that they're going to have in October down in West Palm. That's coming up. I think it's the 25th or 6th of
25th.
October. The 25th. But the proceeds of that program, which is a continuing education program, the proceeds go back to Life University, and Life University is going to be sponsoring that. So as just to reiterate what Dr. McAulay says, we want to thank the Centers of America, because they are truly practicing what Life University stands for, which is our lasting purpose: to give, to do, to love, to serve, out of that sense of abundance without expecting anything in return. So we take our hats off to both these gentlemen.
I wanted to add on one last thing, you guys, because obviously, we get the privilege and honor of finding the latest and greatest. And with you guys, and I know Dr. Joe, as our editor and also practitioner, he did bring up a good point, is the investment for a decompression table. And I was thinking, the thing that came to my head was, it's a lot cheaper to buy the unit than it is to hire sometimes an associate chiropractor. And you imagine, like, if you can have a machine that's a guaranteed reproducible outcome, that's going to show up every day and work the hours, and you can put, you've got the protocols in place. I think right there, that's got to be, I've seen, there's some doctors who don't work successfully with other associate chiropractors. You can instantly do that. So am I wrong or am I right? So it goes with both kinds of chiropractors, right? Whether you want to have a big clinic or you want to have a smaller one, this is kind of your first step in making that happen, right?
Well, we're proud, Jackie, that we have, one of our clinics has 13 tables, 13 decompression tables. Between Perry and I and our sons, we're up to, I think, 8 decompression tables. So, what we've learned is, without an associate in either one of those offices, why? The beautiful thing, Jackie, is once you own the piece of equipment, it's there for years and years and years and years. We love the AcuSpinal. We love working with North American Medical, that now has a branch throughout the world. In China and other parts of the world, where people are learning disc problems. And what's exciting is that Life University is going to be the premier educational institution doctors handle it. And your brother also, was very instrumental early on in bringing decompression. I mean, that's the legacy. Dr. Bard and I figure this is our legacy. I mean, what we wanted is not only we wanted for our children. And listen, the better chiropractors do, the better the American chiropractic does. I mean, I like your articles from great authors. I mean, it's a wonderful thing that we're doing, because why shouldn't our doctors be the most educated? And when people understand failed back surgery syndrome, and the literature that we teach is medically driven, and it's driving everybody onto our bus, because we're the only ones that can handle it with the subluxation. Dr. Shealy, in his infinite wisdom, knew somehow that he had to work on the sacrum, because if the sacrum was subluxated, okay, he said then it would revert back. So what's exciting is working with all these medical people that are getting it, and we're becoming the leaders in it. And what's exciting about Life University, and Dr. McAulay brought this up, of all the research studies, there's never been one done through a chiropractic university. And we will have the access to creating one of the largest studies ever in the history of decompression, doing it through Life University, which will be the first and foremost thing. And that's what our profession needs, so they can stand up and say, hey, I'm a chiropractor, or I'm a disc chiropractor. I'm more than just a bone mover. I'm a health person. I'm a healer. And that's why, we're excited also about your generosity. I mean, we appreciate that you guys coming on today and doing this, that Dr. Bard and I asked you to do for Life University. And it's not that, Jackie, you even questioned it. You couldn't say yes fast enough. And so on behalf of everybody on this call and Life University, I mean, of course, Jackie, we thank you, American Chiropractic, because part of our job is to educate. We can educate the doctors, you can educate the masses. So there's really a good triumvirate here. And we're excited and we thank you for all that you and Dr. Joe and your family does and has done.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
We figured it out.
You're doing a great job. You really are. You're doing a great job. And, we were so blessed and so fortunate, Dr. Downs and myself and all the Life students, especially that, when we went to school, there was a mission statement. And the mission statement was basically something called the lasting purpose. And it was to give, love, to serve out of abundance. And there were so many doctors that embrace that. Not just who went to Life University, but even when they graduated, they said, that makes a lot of sense. I want that to be my mission statement. Dr. Kaplan, so many years ago, really, really coined a phrase that always stuck with all of our doctors, and I never forgot it. And it was so embraced by Life University, is when he said, really, at Disc Centers of America, what we do is we are where touch and technology come together for the best patient result. And Life University really now has made that theirs. Life University has now said that we're going to be the leaders in education of doctors in touch and technology, because it all starts with the adjustment first. But it's nice for the patients to have choices, options, and it's even better when the doctor has options and choices that they can afford a patient. And that's the perfect synergy of the future of healthcare. It really is, where touch and technology come together for the best patient result.
Well, on that note, I think we're going to call it a wrap. Thank you for all the listeners at home. Be sure to continue to read the American Chiropractor in the mail when it comes, and look for the articles by Dr. Kaplan and Dr. Perry Bard on the topic of decompression. And this month we got one on sugar. So they cover everything, right? Which is important for inflammation, important for healing, to avoid those things that cause inflammation. Be sure to follow us on the podcast and give us a like.